News up. Let's fucking go.
Before we get into this,
Okay.
we're going to be discussing the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. I would say this is the first official trailer. The last one was more of a teaser.
Mhm.
As much as we get in this, still don't really know what's going to happen in this movie.
We just know that we're going to have some fight skis and then a team up.
Yeah, which I guess makes it a good trailer. I'll say that.
And there's enough, not Easter eggs, but little breadcrumbs here to figure out that we're kind of dealing with an old man Logan type of Wolverine that has done something.
I don't think so. No, I think we're dealing with like a Wolverine in between, not quite old man Logan, but past what we've seen
Can
in like
you
X-Men
let
1 to
me
3.
finish?
Okay.
In Old Man Logan, he kills the X-Men under the hypnosis of Mysterio, and that is most likely what happened here.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I also don't think I think we're dealing with like a um middle age isn't quite the word for him because middle age is sort of
Get
old man
over the
Logan.
age of the effing character. I'm talking about the storyline. We even see a giant Ant-Man, much like in the comic book.
Yeah, but that could mean anything. So
Don't mention his age again. Don't fucking mention his age again.
um I don't think that's the case here. I don't think Wolverine has killed the X-Men.
He's done something real bad. What has he
No,
done?
I don't even think that. I think it's him being dejected and not helping is why he's a disappointment. That's my take on this. I think there's a Wolverine that's lost all will. I don't
Yes,
think it's
because he's murdered everybody.
no, I think it's because he was dejected because he didn't care things happened. I don't think he actually did the things.
This trailer opens up with much like Wolverine's cameo in Days of Future Past, he is at a bar, but this time he is being told by somebody that he's not welcome at the bar or anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if this is that same Wolverine or they're just setting up a similar situation from the Wolverine that we saw from Days of Future Past, right? Because I feel like and obviously in this trailer the whole thing we see it's a younger-ish looking Wolverine. So 2017's Logan, this is before that even if it is operating in that same universe.
Different
Um
universe. I believe they've already said that.
yeah. So I wonder if they're just using some stuff we've seen before, but not touching the timeline that we were involved in. But all that said, we jump into where do things go when they get tased there? What's that called again? Where Alowith
That
is, Eliath.
is the like off into like the nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see the 20th Century Fox stuff, so maybe this is that Wolverine. They do a good job of not telling us anything, really, to be
No,
honest with
and
you.
this also, it seems like Deadpool has already spoken to several Wolverines or several variants of Wolverines, and this
Yeah.
is the last one that he comes across.
Yeah, maybe not the last one, but he's definitely come across at least a handful of Wolverines or dealt with a bunch. And then we get this shot of Wolverine almost in like an afterlife astral plane type of setting with these big stones. Could be
Or
headstones, could be a
is he at a
memorial,
graveyard at the people that he murdered?
could be a memorial. It's very interesting, very interesting. They're playing more with imagery than anything else, and they're not really telling us stuff.
It's a wonderful shot, and it's
It is.
also great facial expression by Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
We get Madonna's Like a Prayer, once again from the last trailer, Marvel Jesus, so this one fits in real well. And Deadpool's world is ending. Probably.
Are we sure about that?
He kind of talked about that. He said that in the trailer, and I'm most likely thinking that it's from time travel in Deadpool 2 because he made mistakes.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing. I wouldn't be so sure that his world is definitively ending though. But that
He
could
said that
be
he's trying to save the people that he loves,
the jumping off point for sure, yeah.
and that Wolverine let his world down.
That's what they say, which is why I don't think it's explicit that he murdered people. I think he just more is a disappointment.
Murdered everybody.
Murder.
He lured durned everybody. But the big thing here, the big takeaway, is that the fucking sleeves are off.
If you take one thing away from this trailer is that at some point the sleeve monster gets him in the best way. He keeps the gauntlets, like the gloves, the long gloves he has in the cartoon, but the sleeves are gone, but still has the little shoulder piece, which is honestly what we've been asking for like a
It looks
year.
amazing. It looks
Yeah,
so good.
it's
Like,
great.
it's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. Something that I didn't know that I wanted was a shot at artist Rob Liefeld or Leadfield. It's
It's
Liefeld.
it's less a shot and more like a tongue-in-cheek joke. They
Right. I didn't know what it was. And then in our group chat, Wesley Sykes asked, like, hey, what does this joke mean? And Doc from TLDR, pointed out immediately that he sucks at drawing feet. And as an
Yep.
artist, he's a piece of shit or something like that.
So he is the classic artist that draws these big hulking characters, but he can't draw feet, so it's like little stilts of feet, and it's really hard to imagine these guys walking on that. And the joke we're referring to is in the back of the shot of Deadpool and Wolverine, like turning the corner, is a store called Leafield's Feet Only, referencing obviously he can't draw feet. So it's more tongue in cheek than it is to like they're not really putting him down. It's like a well known thing.
Right. I had no idea what it was, but I like it. It's a nice
Yeah,
little poke.
that is nice.
So Cassandra Nova is the bad guy here. We see
Hmm.
her taking on Wolverine here pretty easily. And the TLDR of it, because I did ask TLDR, like, what's up with Cassandra Nova? And then Fryer's head started to spin. He couldn't quite put it into words. But
Brevity is not the
yes.
strength of TLDR.
So I grabbed this from, I don't know, Wikipedia, but the
Yeah.
X-Men version of it or
But
the
by the
Marvel.
way,
Yes.
you and I are only newly aware of this character. We had no idea who this was until the last 6 months or so.
So she is Charles Xavier's sister, and they shared a womb, but Charles realized that she was evil, so he killed her in the womb, causing a miscarriage.
I don't so what how I understand it is they shared one womb. Charles and her engaged in like a psychic battle. He killed her, but quote unquote killed her. She was still like barely alive and then grew up in the gutter. Essentially is her backstory. So she grows up with this chip on her shoulder, being like a 90% Xavier. She's supposed to be the same, have the same powers, but she's evil.
Yeah, so perfect. Evil Xavier. Give me that.
Yeah. Evil Xavier that lives down in this, well, I can't remember the name of the plane that they live in where Eliath is. God damn it.
Also, once again, if that's wrong, don't come at me.
Yeah, who cares?
Blame Google.
Who cares?
And we got Eliath, we got Azat, we got Azazel, we got Lady Deathstroke, we got the Ant-Man, giant dead Ant-Man costume,
Which
which
is
in Old Man Logan, it's Hank Pym.
yeah, and this is presumably where Cassandra Nova's like home base is in that world. Which is kind of cool. It's a fun little thing, and the head still opens and the skull's still in there. I have a question, and
Yes,
since because that's a thing people say.
that's
And
because.
because I wasn't on with you and the TLDR boys, you guys talked about it a little bit. How the X-Men 97 storyline is one that was originally a Cassandra Nova storyline in the comic books,
The
but they
Genosha stuff, yeah.
but they may be taking that away from her. But we're now seeing her in Deadpool and Wolverine. Is that purely coincident, or is there going to be a connection there?
Do they think that the Cassandra Nova stuff is just too weird?
I
Like,
have a
her
I have a hard
backstory
time.
is hard to explain to people, like, we couldn't really do it?
No, I understand that part, but I also have a hard time thinking that it's purely a coincidence that
Mhm.
this somewhat obscure X-Men character is now kind of affecting two major properties. I have a hard time believing she just isn't going to pop up in X-Men 97.
Fryer made the point that he believes that Professor X might be Cassandra Nova inside of that body.
And that would explain why the small bit that we got of Prof X wasn't
Mhm.
that great and was kind of
Yeah,
different. Okay.
yeah, and
I
he's
can see
walking,
that.
but he's a shell on, but he's still
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
So at the end of this, though, they're jumping into one of those Doctor Strange portals.
Yeah, so we glossed over it real quick too. In that shot of the Ant-Man head, you mentioned we get a Azazel, Lady Deathstrike, pyros in the back there. I wonder how many little Easter eggs are going to be in there that someone's going
Mm.
to break down in the coming weeks. Um, it's like if Lady Deathstrike is in this movie, they're going to be pulling from all sorts of characters through all of Wolverine and X-Men movies, which is going to be awesome. The Strange like portal means that either Strange, Wong, or Ancient One is involved in this story. And
Wong. It's gonna be Wong. Probably
you think
Wong.
Probably Wong, because Wong's been loosely attached to the Avengers, and like we saw him in the Shang-Chi post credit too. So maybe it's Wong, but maybe that's how everything gets brought into our MCU here. Like
Mhm.
that's still a big unanswered question as well. And for the most part, this movie probably will operate aside to the MCU and not affect too many things. But this, like I said at the beginning, we get a bunch of scenes in here. We still have no idea what's going to fucking happen in this movie.
I also love the fact that people all over social media were like, "Oh, they're driving the car that Tony Stark was working on in Iron Man 1." And I looked, I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Is that cool?"
I didn't even catch that. What was he working on?
People
Like an
on social
Audi?
media were pointing like, "Oh, that's
Uh,
really cool." I'm like, "I guess.
sure.
That's sure."
Yeah.
Also, are they driving a DeLorean at one point?
I didn't see that. The one that people keep talking about is Red Skull's car from the first Avenger.
So they're just driving a bunch of cars?
Probably stuff. Yeah, Easter eggs essentially is all these things are gonna be. Yeah,
All right, fun, I guess. Um, I am my biggest takeaways here.
yeah.
I am so stoked. I love the fact that we are going to get the sleeveless Wolverine. I know it's a small thing, but it just aesthetically looks so good. The
Hmm.
fight sequences look amazing. They dropped at least 20 F bombs in this trailer, and it looks like it's going to be more. I think it's going to be more of a heartfelt Wolverine story than what we were expecting.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's gonna be some sort of, and it's weird to think about because we really do close the Wolverine loop in Logan,
Mhm.
but obviously this is going to be separate from that. So it looks like we're going to be seeking some sort of redemption for both Wolverine and I guess Deadpool to save his world here. Which again, I wonder how much this actually affects the MCU going forward, other than bringing in the X Men. It's just interesting, but yeah, it was cool to see Cassandra Nova completely dominate Wolverine. So it
Mhm.
shows how powerful she is, and I wonder if it's one of those things where she's been in that world for so long that she's even more powerful. I wonder who Eliath is working for. Is he who remains there? Is there a character like that? Is Cassandra Nova controlling Eliath? That's an unanswered thing as well.
I guess too the biggest question is from what timeline or from what universe is this Wolverine from?
Right, and that goes back to the beginning where I'm pondering and slash confused that they show us a shot from Days of Future Past, but are they just mirroring that shot? Is it that Wolverine that we're using? Is it a different
Not Days of
Wolverine?
Future Past. That's from did I say Days of Future Past at the beginning?
Yeah, that's
I
what you said.
apologize. That's from
Yeah.
First Class. My
First
bad.
Class, fair enough. So
Yes.
one of those two movies. Is it that Wolverine? Is it an entirely new Wolverine? Again, we get no answers, and that's probably for the best. I'm also at the point now where I've seen enough where
Yeah. No
I
more. We don't need
I
any
don't
more.
need any more.
No, we're
This was
good.
good. I did want to see more. This gave us more, and now I think I'm good. I don't need another trailer.
It gave you a little sprinkle of some of the cameos, but they're all X-Men related.
Yeah,
I don't wanna see any of, like, the Daredevil stuff that might be in this,
don't
any
give
of the
me any
Fantastic
variants.
Four stuff that might be in this.
Yeah,
I don't wanna know until the movie where this Wolverine is from. Is it from the X-Men timeline that we have in the movies? Is it from X-Men 97? Is it a new Wolverine that we don't know of?
right, right. Totally agree.
Marvel's back, baby. News dump. Also got a trailer for Transformers 1, and what I like about this, it's animated, and
Mhm.
I think that's gonna breathe some new life into this series.
It's animated, but it's like CGI animation.
Right.
It's unique animation. It doesn't feel like most things animated you've seen before. I also forgot. I know we talked about this. It was drafted in our movie draft, but as I was watching the trailer, it felt like it was a show, didn't it? Didn't it feel like
It
it was
did.
going to be like a longer story than what we're going to get in a movie? I don't know. It gave me the vibe of a show.
Do you like Chris Hemsworth's American accent?
Yeah, that was interesting too. That was for
Why
sure
not just get
interesting.
a deep voiced American to do it?
Or just let him use his regular accent. They're fucking alien robots.
Well,
Who
what I'm
cares?
saying is like, throw it my way.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting choice for sure. This looks cool. This looks cool. It's
Yeah, it does.
essentially an origin of the Autobots coming together on whatever the name of their fucking planet is. I always forget that. But it looks good. It looks good. I bet it's going to rate very well.
News dump. Got a trailer for Trap, and this movie is quite intriguing, Mac.
Yeah, this is the next M. Night Shyamalan movie, and I'll
I
be
thought The
honest with you.
Watcher. Oh, The Watcher is M. Night's daughter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Um, I'm intrigued by this, number 1, because I think we're in the middle of a Harnettissance,
We
as
are in
you
the
might
Heart
say.
Renaissance. Yep.
He was unbelievable
I
in
can't wait for Pearl Harbor 2.
Hey, you shut your mouth about Pearl Harbor. Kate Beckinsale's
Are you a
unbelievable.
Pearl Harbor truther?
I like Pearl Harbor. I do. I like that
Oh, you
movie.
stink.
I do. Ben Affleck, come on. Come on, Gil. Hartnett was great in Oppenheimer, and he had a pretty pivotal role in that movie. This movie is sort of unlike anything we've ever seen before. Obviously, M. Night goes for that type of shit, but the premise is Josh Hartnett and his daughter are attending a concert, like a world famous performer. They're in this arena, and it turns out this whole thing was staged by the Popo because
Mm.
Josh Hartnett is a serial killer, and they've trapped him inside the arena.
There has to be more twists, right? Like, that can't be the twist. You can't give us the twist in the trailer. Or is he trying to twist us into a whole new pretzel of being like, you think this is the twist, and it actually is the twist?
I don't know what the twist is going to be, but there surely will be one. And I just like the concept of this. I hope it's like 85 minutes, right? I don't want it to be really anything more than that. Make it intense, make it heart racing, and then we'll get in, get out, probably have a shitty twist 80 minutes in.
Just do like 15 twists. Make it like Argyle. Just way too many
Oh,
twists.
God. By the way, more and more people are seeing that now that it's streaming.
Yeah.
Everyone hates that movie.
I thought it was fun enough.
I did not like it.
News dump. Got a trailer for The Watcher.
Yeah, The Watchers. This is by
I
M.
put a
Night.
Z at the end. Don't worry.
M. Night's
I know.
daughter, her name is escaping me, so sorry for that. This is her directorial debut. It is being produced by M. Night. Stars Dakota Fanning, and it does feel like an M. Night type of movie. This is coming out June 14th. The premise essentially is a girl goes into the woods, and then all of a sudden her car. It's an M. Night thing. Nothing really makes sense. Probably nothing will make sense the whole runtime until the end. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm always intrigued by a young filmmaker that has filmmaking roots.
News dump. Got a trailer for Netflix's The Hitman, and once again, Glenn Powell is continuing to bring sexy back to movies.
Yeah, and this is going to hit some theaters too, and I wonder if that's because this is getting some early buzz. And based on the trailer, this looks fun. This movie looks.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to really enjoy this movie. I'm looking forward to this.
News dump. This is from Total Film that Furiosa has a 15-minute action sequence that took 78 days to shoot and required 200 stunt people on set daily. It is the longest sequence any of us have ever shot.
I'm
That's
happy
something.
for whoever enjoys that in the theaters because it won't be me.
You think it's going to be tense?
Probably not.
I'll say tense.
It's too wide open in the
I'll
Mad
go on the
Max
side
world
of
for
10.
things to be tense. You know what's tense? Water. Waterworld is tense.
I was going to say water is dense.
You can't drown in the desert.
Fine,
You
sure,
drown in the
what do you
ocean.
want? You love Waterworld. Until people give Waterworld its respect, I refuse to respect any
that's-
other action movie.
That's why I like Pearl Harbor so much. There's so much water.
News dump. Speaking of action, Daphne Keane told EW that The Acolyte aims to have a lightsaber fight that tops the duel with Darth Maul from The Phantom Menace. We wanted to top the Darth Maul fight. It is the most iconic fight, I think, in the Star Wars cinematic universe.
I mean, it's in the conversation for sure. We talk about it every time we talk about lightsaber fights.
Sure. Top 3.
I'm intrigued by the Acolyte. It seems like they're shooting for the stars, and there's a lot of lightsabers. It could really suck, but I bet I'm gonna like it. That's for
also,
sure.
Keane just sounds so unsure of what she's saying. It's a top 5 fight scene, I think.
That's a perfect caveat because now no one can be like, "Well, there's this." We're like, "Well, it's in the conversation."
Let's look at just the prequels. Do you prefer this or the battle on Mustafar?
I prefer this.
I prefer this one too. People always go to the Mustafar one over this, though.
Mustafar's good. This tells a better story and obviously sets up a whole trilogy of movies, essentially a whole universe of movies.
As long as you're not throwing the Yoda Dooku fight at me, I don't care what you tell me. I hate that one.
Obi-Wan Grievous is pretty good too.
That is good.
Yeah.
News dump. Quentin Tarantino's 10th and final movie will no longer happen. I don't know what their plan is now, but The Critic was that movie. I don't know if it's been canceled. I know that he doesn't want to do it, it seems like.
Or
Brad
he's not
Pitt,
doing it next. Something
yes.
to that effect.
Brad Pitt was in talks to reprise his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood character Cliff Booth, and Tom Cruise was in talks for a role. And I don't want to see Cliff Booth ever again. He is maybe what I believe to be the coolest movie character of all time. So I don't think that you can top that.
I totally agree with your sentiment. However, he's so cool that I kind of want to see him again. Kind of want to see him bopping around, you
I
know?
don't want to see him. I don't want to see you talking about him in books. I don't want to see you giving him more backstory. I want what we had on the screen.
Hmm.
That's him, and that's all I ever want.
This Tarantino retirement is going as well as Brett Favre retirements. He's already backtracked off the one. In like 10 years, he'll have made 3 more movies and will be like, why the fuck did he ever say that?
Psych, I'm making the Star Trek movie, you bozos.
Martin Scorsese is 105 and still making movies. Why would Tarantino stop now?
All right, let's get into Martin Scorsese. News dump. He is making a Frank Sinatra movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio as, was it Mickey Blue Eyes? That's not what they called him.
I don't think so.
It
Considering
was
his
old
name is
Blue Eyes,
Frank.
right? Was he old Blue
It
Eyes?
might be old Blue Eyes, yeah.
Mickey
For
Blue
sure
Eyes is
not
Hugh
Mickey Blue
Grant,
Eyes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, or Mickey
Yeah.
Mantle.
Nah. And Jennifer Lawrence is playing Ava Gardner. This is via Variety. Just going back to what you know. Let's make a mob movie.
Yeah, that's true. 2 of the best actors on the planet, though, and I love Jennifer Lawrence. You don't, and I do. We're so on the opposite
I
ends of the
don't mind
spectrum
her. I
for
don't hate
Jennifer
her.
Lawrence. DiCaprio was kind of born to play a Frank Sinatra role, though. Like he's gonna fucking absolutely crush that.
I don't know. This just kind of seems like, hey, let's go back and do the same thing.
I agree. He's an old senile director, though. That's all he knows is mob movies.
Speaking of doing the same thing, news dump. Steven Spielberg's going to make a UFO movie.
I like how the note here is that it's based on his own idea. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't care whose idea it was. I'm not buying into Spielberg because he's an ideas guy. I'm buying in because he's directed some of the coolest shit ever, whether they're his
I
ideas
would
or not.
have, if you flipped and reversed this news and you told me that
Sure,
Martin
flip it when they've written
Scorsese
it.
is making a UFO movie based off his ideas and Steven Spielberg is making the Frank Sinatra most likely mob movie, I'd be all in on both of those.
I feel like Martin Scorsese pitching a UFO movie would be like Michael Scott always going back to Michael Scarn. All the aliens get off and they've all got guns and they're just capping people.
They all
like
have Tommy
mobsters would.
guns and fedoras.
He just can't get away from it. Can't escape it. Always goes back to it.
News dump. The Office sequel series is, I believe that's what they're going to call it, because it is a part of the Office universe. They're not going to have any of the main characters coming over, but it's going to have the same type of feel and showrunners.
Do you
Is that
think
what
they're
I'm
going to
getting?
call it The Offices or Office?
The Off Ice.
The Office Folie à Deux is what I've
Mhm.
proposed.
Yeah.
This is going to star Dom. How do we pronounce this? Domhnall
Dom DeLuise.
Gleason.
He
and
voiced the
Sabrina
cat in American Tail. Fievel Goes West.
and Sabrina Impacciator.
It stars
What?
2 people not named Steve Carell. Whoever plays Pam Beasley, I'm blanking on her name right now. John Krasinski,
Jenna Fisher.
Jenna
James
Fisher.
Gunn's ex-wife.
Yeah.
But it is being made by Greg Daniels, the showrunner of the original American Office, and it is set in the same universe as the original Office, but it won't be a reboot. So that tells me you'll probably see like Ryan, maybe Kelly. You'll see a couple of these characters in a couple episodes. I doubt you'll get the big ones, but there'll be some crossover for sure.
Over under 1.5 seasons.
Oh man. That's a good question.
Because I
So-
think it gets an initial bump for being in the Office universe, and
Right,
that
right.
bump will get it a second season, but then the glow will wear off and it won't make it to 3.
Yeah, I most non-Netflix things do get a second season,
Yeah.
so I guess over. I guess it'll get to 2.
News down. Streaming on Max right now, Conan Must Go. I am 2 episodes in. It's delightful. It's charming.
Um, is the second episode the Argentina episode?
Yes.
So, towards the end of this, when they're on the farm, the wine connoisseur reviewer guy, him breaking,
Jordan Schlansky. Know his name.
killed me. So, yeah, that's his name. I always forget his name. So, he's a guy you've seen on Conan numerous times before. He comes in this episode, and the way he breaks on the farm was incredible. This is if you like Conan
Yeah.
just riffing and having time to be weird, this show is exactly for you.
And if you like the stuff with Jordan Schlansky, I would recommend you might find it on YouTube. When Conan went to Italy with Jordan, it was just those two for the entire special.
Yeah.
Might be some of his best stuff.
Yeah, that was real good stuff. Real strong work.
News dump. Opening this weekend, Zendaya's Challengers.
Sexy. Tennis. Balls. I think you can review it now, technically.
It's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. My big issue coming out of it was not as sexy as it was not pitched to us, because no one's pitching us fucking movies, but the commercials made it seem like it was a much sexier movie, and I feel like it did not live up to the sexiness.
Well, you did tell me that we don't see bush, but we do see balls.
Oh yeah, no, when I saw on the poster that there's nudity, I said, I can bet anything we're gonna get some hog.
Couple cocks.
That was the nudity. And I think moving forward, when you see nudity, just assume hog.
Yeah, that's fair. I like we've been saying for years, not enough hogs. Bring more hogs back. I probably will see this in a couple weeks. I do think I am going to see it in theaters, but I'm not going to see it this weekend.
Also, I didn't love the score. I didn't love the Trent Reznor score. I don't think it helped the movie as much as some people might be saying. Also, every critic right now is just saying, "Oh, this movie's so sexy." What else do you guys watch?
Well, I think they're all virgins. None of them have ever had sex, so that's the main thing.
Like, just make it sexier. Show some Penny.
Yeah, agreed. Show me some Zendaya Penny.
I thought we were gonna get some. That's what the trailer made it seem like.
Oh, there's not even some like under the blanket stuff?
I'm not even calling back to it.
You're gonna have to see it again.
I thought about it for too long. That means no.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fair. You probably would have told me if there was initially. So yeah.
I would have texted you during the movie. I would have stood up in my chair.
You would have recorded the screen.
Yeah. I would have yelled, boobs! News dump. All right, that'll do it for this news dump. Check us out at the end of the week. We will have something. I'll throw something at Mac as soon as we sign off, because when I throw it at him on the air, he makes me feel bad about myself.
Not me. I'm off at the end of the week.
Well, I'll talk to you in a second.
Okay.
News dump!